Hello once again. This is my second book review, and this book is On Hitler's Mountain by Irmgard A. Hunt. This is a memoir about Irmgard's early childhood life living in Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 1940s. First, I'll read the summary of the book, and it's in the back. It starts with, growing up in the beautiful mountains of Berchtesgaden, just steps from Adolf Hitler's Alpine retreat. Irmgard Hunt had a seemingly happy, simple childhood in her powerful, illuminating, and sometimes frightening memoir. Hunt recounts a youth lived under an evil but persuasive leader, and as she grew older, the harsh reality of war and a few brave adults who opposed the Nazi regime aroused in her skepticism of National Socialist ideology and the Nazi propaganda she was taught to believe in. In May 1945, an 11-year-old Hunt watched American troops occupy Hitler's mountain retreat, signaling the end of the Nazi dictatorship and World War II. As the Nazi crimes began to be counted for, many Germans tried to deny the truth of what had occurred. Hunt, in contrast, was determined to know and face the facts of her country's criminal past. On Hitler's Mountain is more than a memoir. It is a portrait of a nation that lost its moral compass. It is a provocative story of a family and a community in a period and location in history that, though it is fast becoming remote to us, has important resonance for our own time. So that's the summary. And this is a nonfiction book, of course, completely nonfiction. This guy right here, Sterling Professor Emeritus of History at Yale University, says this is a supremely honest and important book. I like this book a lot. This goes into day-to-day activities of what Irmgard had to deal with living in Nazi Germany. And this is it's kind of a nicer story rather than your typical World War II Holocaust stories that are usually pretty graphic in words and in pictures. This is a more lighter story of just an average Aryan German living in Nazi Germany and things that she went through each and every day. She ended up joining the Hitler Youth for Women, of course, as was expected for all children, actually. And I didn't read all of it. I'm not sure if I said that already. I didn't read all of it, but I did read the majority of the book, enough so that I can make a review on it. I can show you a few pictures. I don't want to show you all the pictures to spoil everything. Here's a picture. She's not in this picture, but here's a picture of, let's see, on the bottom of this says, a meeting of the Jungmädchen, the under-14 girls group of the Hitler Youth. And I really like this book overall. I kind of dislike stories about Holocaust and things like that because I've heard about those countless and countless times that it's kind of gotten redundant after hearing it over and over again. No one likes repetition. But this book is really, really interesting. It talks about the other side, not the Holocaust side, but just the average German person living in Nazi Germany, that side. It talks about the Nazi infiltration of each German person's lives, even to the point of naming children had to be certain Germanic names, like Ingrid, or as the author's name is, Irmgard, just the German names. And how certain holidays the Nazis tried to bypass. They tried to make their own holidays, which I found was really interesting. Here's a picture of the author, of the child. Again, very, very nice book. This is the first book I've read of Irmgard A. Hunt. I'm not sure how many books she wrote. This might be her only one, but this was really good. Here's a picture of her when she's a child, and this is her baby sister that you'll read more about if you read this book, which, of course, I think you should. Oh, here's Adolf Hitler with 2 little children. The caption says, Hitler was 2 children on his knee. I can tell you one thing about this book. It won't spoil anything because if you go to barnesandnobles.com, you can actually read a little summary of this book, which is at the very beginning of the book. I'll tell you about it anyway. The author of this book, Irmgard A. Hunt, or technically with Irmgard Pullman, she got married and I guess took the father's last name. But Irmgard, she had the opportunity to actually sit on Adolf Hitler's lap. It's very interesting, actually, right here. The main character, Irmgard, she actually lived right next to his big headquarters in Berchtesgaden, in Linden. She lived right next to him. So all these diplomats, presidents of countries visiting him, back and forth, driving to the mountain and driving back down the mountain. She, her mother and father, and grandparents got to see Hitler come down the mountain and meet with all these happy German citizens. Hitler singled the main character, or the author of this book, out because he liked the way she looked, and she got to sit on his lap, and photographers got to take pictures, and it was very, very interesting. Of course, the grandfather of this book, again, not too Nazi-friendly. He kind of angry at this, but the parents, who were real Nazi sympathizers, really liked it. Oh, here's the caption of a picture. This is the Berghof, Hitler's mountain home, with Hoher Goal in the background, which is the big mountain. But overall, I really, really like this book, and I would read it again. And it'd be cool if I was a teacher. I would probably require students to read this book, and I'm sure they'd like it just as much as I liked it. Love this book. And I think that's all I can say about this book overall. I'm not completely done, but I have finished the majority of it. It looks like I'm about at the end of the war, around 1944-ish. Just about finishing it. Love the first half. The first half is really interesting. The second half is more of what a German had to go through during the end of the war, which of course was kind of bad because they had to wait in long lines getting food. Food was scarce, especially on the mountain of Berchtesgaden. Less food up there. Talks about bombing raids, how they had to always, when they heard a big loud siren, they had to go underground. And it's very interesting. You will like it a lot, especially if you love history books. If you love anything about Hitler, or if you love Nazi Germany, which is my most fascinating country, Nazi Germany. And it's very interesting. You should like it. You will like it if you love history, of course. And I think that's all I have to say. Again, I would give this an A+ rating. And hopefully you will read this, pick this up when you have free time. I'm on Christmas break, so I have plenty of free time to read this book. And I'm glad I picked this up. My English teacher actually suggested this book to the class a year ago, and I decided to get it now. But it's really cheap. It's like $13 I paid on BarnesandNobles.com. $15 here. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere else. But, yep, hopefully my review helped you to maybe want to get this book and read it. Anyway, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.